they couldn't conduct a month of this war without us. It's all us. It's our weapons, our intelligence, all of it is completely necessary for them to do it. So America is like 100% implicated in all of the horrors of what's happened for the last year.
An American citizen, and then watching all these kids being killed, knowing I'm paying for it. It's not fun.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's look, obviously, America, we've fought in a lot of wars over the last 20 plus years. All of them, Israel supported and wanted us to fight.
A lot of them they pushed us into them, especially Iraq.
Well, they certainly were. It's such a network that it's almost like hard to say where one starts and the other one stops. There's certainly a lot of non-Jews who are Americans who are fucking like very implicated in this as well.
Yeah.
But there's certainly a whole lot of like Jew foreign policy establishment as well. But at the very least, Israel certainly was lobbying for all of these wars. But look, it was our government and our elected officials who went along with it. And we've done some pretty horrible things. Now, again, if I say that America has like done all these horrible things in these wars, no one confuses that from me saying every single American person is guilty of that. But I would say that there is something unique in what Israel's doing to Gaza that is just profoundly more fucked up than even what we did to Iraq or what we did, because this isn't just you starting a war with some puny country who didn't do anything this is starting a war with a group of people who you've held captive since 1967. It's like, in the same way that, like, okay, you don't have an obligation to feed a homeless guy on the street. Like, it's not your, now it might be a nice thing for you to do, but you don't have to do it, right? But if you go and kidnap someone, right? If you kidnap someone and you lock them in your basement and you starve them to death, you're guilty of murder. So in a sense, right, when you kidnap that person and put them in your basement and won't let them leave, now you have an obligation to feed them. Like I'm not saying it's okay to do that, but if you're gonna do that, you have to feed them. And so in that same sense, like, I think when you have a people captive, there's a higher responsibility on what you're allowed to do to them. Like, this isn't a foreign country with a military of their own, with a government of their own. They have no means by which to defend themselves.
Hamas isn't even a real military. It's like a small group of there's no real objectives there. There's not there's no one to beat. They're just, I'm sure you watch it, they're bombing schools almost every day. It's just disgusting. It's the worst thing I've ever seen.
Hamas is the toughest gang in an Israeli prison that Israel propped up and funded
they
to keep them running the thing. So it's like, there's just, look, it's just, I don't know. It's what Israel done to Gaza over the last year is just,
it's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's appalling, man. It's such an outrage. And that's also part of the reason why, I guess, in a way, it's just impossible. Like, it's impossible for me to, like I was saying before, I'm too focused on the shit that matters. It's like, there's too many times like that people like corporate media people try to be like, but aren't you appalled by like the anti-Semitism on Twitter or something? I'm like,
gets blown,
hey man,
legs blown off, and his family killed.
Right, as soon as we get over,
whatever, I can understand it.
I just watched the 1,000th baby suffocate to death online. So like, actually, I'm more appalled. And then I'm watching Nikki Haley sign bombs. So actually, I'm a little bit more appalled by that than I am by mean tweets.
They put my name on bombs too that I pay for. Like, they've written my name. That's like basically a death threat. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think I did see that.
So
what was the point? So they signed.
They did my name. I think they put Andrew Tate's name, Jackson Hinkle's, some dumbass Israel fighter who's terrible. And then he's like, I'll fight you. I'm like, bro, I'll fucking hurt you. The guy was like at a gym. He was at a gym in New York that I was out for, and he wouldn't even train with me because he sucked so bad. Like, Gordon Ryan's little brother, when he was like 15, just destroyed him. Like, you want to call me out? And then he's like, a boxing fight. And I'm like, he's called me to a fight now, and you're an MMA fighter, and you're trying to make rules. Like, you're pathetic. If you want to fight me, I'll fight you anytime for free.
Dude, I just fucking, I hate the, like, I really do. I just think there's something so profoundly evil. Like, it's like a biblical level of evil of the celebrating warfare, that celebrating. Look, man, like, even if they're
doing boat trips with kids to watch. So this is why I can understand why some people start turning anti. Like, they see this and they connect that with Jews, which is not the case. But you can see that when people see this, there's a culture, and they're taking their kids out to watch other kids be slaughtered. It's just like, how is this real?
Yeah, I mean, look, dude, it's not. there's something very sick about that culture. And the truth is that I remember Glenn Greenwald said this once. I thought he's great. I love it. Yeah. But he's just
he's one of my favorite journalists.
Really, one of the best journalists in the world. Really honest, really smart, really good dude. But he said this when Osama bin Laden was killed. And it really hit home with me. And it was when, if you remember, around Obama's re-election campaign in 2012, and I know Biden and a bunch of them, they had a campaign slogan that was like, Detroit's alive and Osama is dead. And basically they were saying, oh, we saved the auto industry and we killed bin Laden. And Glenn Greenwald was like, hey, listen, even Osama bin Laden, right? This was somebody who was like murdered by our Navy SEAL teams, right? Like was executed in his underwear or whatever. Like now, even if you think he deserves that and that was justice, it still should be somber. You shouldn't be like spiking a football. Like you just killed someone. Like if you're not the bad guy, if you're not the barbarian and your whole thing is you hate them because they're terrorists, it's like then our side shouldn't be celebrating when people die. And if you're going to argue, now, of course, I reject the whole war, but if you're going to argue this is a necessary war, and it really is sad that all these innocent people die, but we have to fight this war, well, then don't be fucking celebrating. Like, what are you gleeful about? This should be dark
they're
and
mocking
sad.
It and, like, laughing. It's terrible. There's a few more things I want to talk about, so let's just real quick, let's touch into the West Bank. A lot of people don't understand what's going on there. That's not where Hamas is, and so this is not even the terrorists there, and they're in the West Bank too, just totally brutalizing, taking land, harassing people.
Yeah,
it's just no one can ever give justification for that. When I'm arguing with Zion, it's just like, how do you explain the West Bank settlers? And I've never heard anyone give an explanation for that.
Well, you know, and it's funny because the whole funny in a fucked up way, but it's the whole strategy of propping up Hamas. A huge part of it was so we don't have to talk about the West Bank issue.
Exactly,
we could just keep. You think Palestine, you think Hamas, you think terrorists. Okay, no, we can't. No, no partner for peace, all that shit. But the West Bank is really what they want. They don't even really want Gaza. I mean, like they probably want it, but like but that's not the right. No, it's Judea and Samaria, as they call it in the West Bank. That's where their holy sites are. That's what. That's what they really want.
And they're going in there taking it. These guys are just coming in with weapons, harassing people. So these Americans, they're like, oh, I would defend my country, and then these people are harassing them, and they call the Palestinians terrorists.
Yeah, well, it's terrorism has always been kind of like a in the eye of the beholder. I mean, like, it's from the perspective of the British Empire, George Washington was a terrorist. From the perspective of Americans, after you win the war, he's the greatest hero ever, And from the perspective of, I think, like, from a neutral, objective perspective, you would look at the Zionist militias as terrorist groups. But from the Israeli perspective, they were the freedom fighters who founded that nation. And it's really no different with the Palestinians. From the Israeli perspective, they're a bunch of terrorists. But if they were to win, like, you could see where, obviously this is not plausible, it's not going to happen, but like if theoretically October 7th, let's say, brought down the state of Israel and the Palestinians were able to form their own state, then of course they would be the ones who created this here. I mean, that's the way all societies are, right? Like there are these double standards that it's like, if you just look at it from this other group's perspective, that you're the biggest monster ever. But so from the Palestinian perspective, which is not that hard to put yourself in, it's like, look, you're an occupied people. And then an occupied people have the right to resist that occupation. I mean, now, I'm not saying they have a right to kill. I'm not saying you have a right to kill innocent people. But like, I've had some interesting moments because I've done a lot of these debates over the last year. And that's one of the things I've tried to press a bunch of them on. It's like, well, everyone wants to talk about Israel's right to defend themselves, but it's like, let's really talk about the Palestinians' right to defend themselves. Like, what right do they have?
Yeah, they don't have a right to
like, who can they kill? Like, if an IDF soldier is in the West Bank, they have a right to kill that guy? Yeah. I mean, you would certainly say if Hamas is in Israel, they got a right to kill them, right? So that's, but look, the kind of the bigger picture here is like, look, it is really fucked up what Israel's doing to its neighbors. But the real thing is that America just shouldn't be involved in this at all. We make the situation so much worse. We're degrading our country and our standing in the world. And it does nothing but just cause us problems.
Yeah, our greatest ally is really nothing from us. They spy on us. They take money from us. They steal our nuclear secrets. They
Yeah.
really offer us nothing. It's like a one-way abusive relationship.